What are the methods of communication for business? Now, broadly, there are four different methods. One is verbal communication, the other is non-verbal communication, written communication, and visual communication. In a business organization, you can communicate in four different ways. When to use what type of communication depends on the situation. If you have some information to provide, some data to be shared, you cannot go on talking about it verbally, right? You have to make it in a documented form so that the other person retains all the information that you're talking about. And for the other person to understand properly, you'll also probably give some visual representation. You'll make some PPT. You will probably explain them in the form of charts and tabular data. So when exactly what type is used, that completely depends. Verbal communication, it is used when information is to be transferred through speaking or sign language, including active listening. Examples are virtual meetings, phone calls, in-person conversations. Non-verbal is when you are using gestures, facial expressions, other non-verbal cues to convey information to others. It can also include smiling or frowning, crossing your arms, and nodding. So this is form of non-verbal communication when you are listening to someone. Written communication, when the occasion demands, you have to write the information and give. It can be through business letters, reports, it can be through emails, it can be through a detailed report that you make on a particular project or topic, again as per the situation or demands. Visual communication, it is the use of images and graphics to convey information. Companies typically use visuals alongside verbal or written communication to provide helpful context and clarification. So when you can make PPTs, you can make some slides to pass on the information effectively. Now, what is the process of communication? First is there is always a sender who sends the message. When you're sending, you encode it and send. There is a particular language that you use, right? You can either use your mother tongue, so while talking, you can use some language, English, Hindi, Marathi, whatever the other person understands. So there's a sender, first of all. He encodes the message and sends it. Once the encoding is done, the message is encoded, it needs to be formed, the encoding part needs to be formed into a message by the sender to be further conveyed to the receiver. So say encoding happens in my mind that I want to convey this to the person. Okay, so I am the sender, encoding happens in my mind. Now I know the receiver is a foreigner, so they will not understand Hindi. So I have to send the message in such a way that the other person understands. So it will be, the type will be say in English, and if he is not on WhatsApp, then probably I'll have to write an email or just pick up the call and inform. So how the message is being conveyed, what will be the type, whether it will be written, oral, whatever. Then I have to accordingly choose the communication channel, what will be the most effective and fastest way of reaching to the receiver. Then the receiver comes into the picture once the message is sent. Then the receiver comes into the picture. Receiver receives the message. He will decode it now. He will decode it in his own way. He will try to understand what is written, what is said. After listening to it or after reading it, he will give his feedback. So these are the 7 broad types of the process of communication. Remember this, they may ask you this in MCQs. Then means of communication. There can be verbal, non-verbal, written, visualization, same what we discussed above. Now, choice of modes of communication. Now, when do you know what is to be used? Again, as I said, that depends on pure logic and pure common sense, and of course the demand of the situation. That in a particular situation, what will be the convenient and easiest way to pass on the message. If the person lives overseas, writing a formal letter will not be a good idea, right? You can just convey it over phone, text, WhatsApp, or email correspondence can be done because the person lives abroad. So when what is to be used exactly, that completely depends on the situation and also the need of the hour. Now, no matter where the person lives, if you want to enter into an agreement with the person, you're entering into some business with the person, you can't just inform them over WhatsApp, right? You need to have a formal agreement in place. The agreement needs to be signed by both the parties, probably registered also. So ऐसे में कितना भी inconvenience हो, you will get an agreement in writing and then send it to the person.